Hi folks, I'm Alison Kersley of Blood Medusa Paints, and today I'm going to show you a really easy way of painting up your Genestealer cults in the style of Warhammer plus Angels of Death animation. I'll go through the paints I used at each stage as we go. The first paint we're going to use is the Citadel Black Templar contrast paint. I'm literally just going to slap it on all over the model, into every nook and cranny, not caring about being neat, just as long as the model is completely smothered in the stuff. If any of it is pooling a little bit too much, however, just push the paint around whilst it's still wet, or use your brush to absorb the excess. As you can see, I'm not thinning the paint down at all, as we want it to build up nice dark shadowy areas and bring out all of the finer details on the model, which in this case is the Genestealer Cults Iconward. Yep, I forgot I could actually use a paint handle to help me paint. If you've not used contrast paints before, they are a fantastic addition to your painting arsenal. I tend to personally use them in conjunction with my other paints, rather than as a replacement. However, if you are just looking to get some models tabletop and game ready in a short space of time, they are definitely one to try, and come in a great range of colours, not just the black. Just double check around the whole model to make sure you've not missed any bits, or to go back over any areas where the paint might have pulled back a smidge, which is quite common sometimes with the contrast paints. The next bit is done using Citadel Astrogranite texture paint to cover the whole base. I'm also using the Citadel texture tool to help push it into the parts around the model that are harder to reach without getting any on it. If you do, just quickly wipe it off with a finger or a paintbrush. Make it a nice even layer, not too thin, not too thick, about 1mm deep, and then wipe off the excess from around the rim and leave it to dry. Once it's fully dry, after around half an hour to an hour, we move on to the next stage, which is dry brushing. Here I'm using Citadel Ulthuan Grey and a small Artis Opus Series D dry brush. I highly recommend the Artis Opus range, but any dry brush you have available will do the trick. For this particular style, it is important to brush down rather than in random directions, unless there are parts where that can't be avoided, such as under the arms, etc. This should give the impression that the light is strongest from above, while still highlighting the rest of the model, giving it that black and white grayscale vibe. Go gently, build it up slowly. Remember, you can always add more, but it's a lot more difficult to take it away. Whilst you're here, if you want to give this video a like and my channel a subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. I will drop various affiliate links and my Patreon details in the video description, as well as a full list of all the products used for this tutorial. You'll see I'm only lightly dry brushing, making sure I hit all the details without compromising the darker recesses for the shadows, focusing on building up the lightest parts. And the reason I did the textured base when I did, rather than at the end as usual, is because I'm using the same colour to dry brush that as well. So everything gets covered all at once saving a bit of back and forth. Next up is my favourite bit for this scheme, adding in the little spot colour of red. I'm using pure red from Instar paint, which is already thin enough to use straight from the bottle and has great coverage. I tend to use the red on the eyes, any lenses, screens, buttons and gems there might be, as well as any feature I want to really pop. And in this case, it's the Genestealer symbol of the icon itself. Nothing fancy, just a nice neat layer tracing the pattern already provided by the sculpt. After that, I just want to make those red spot colours pop even more. So using Instar Paint Pure White, I just add dots to each of the red areas to represent shine and reflection. I tend to place them at the top and just off centre. Last but certainly not least, I paint the rim with 1 to 2 layers of Instar Paint Pure Black, which is my go-to black for anything. My final flourish is to add ruby red tufts from rival crafts to the bases. Here's all the models so far. Thank you for watching. See you soon. TTFN.